Okay, let's take a look at the scientific method notes that we need to fill in. This should be page 1 of your packet. To start, it says, what is the scientific method? It is a process to use to find answers to questions about the world around us. Is there only one scientific method? The answer is no. There are several versions of the scientific method. Some versions have more steps, while others may only have a few. However, they all begin with the identification of a problem or a question to be answered based on observations of the world around us and provide an organized method for conducting and analyzing an experiment. What is a hypothesis? It is an educated guess based on observations and your knowledge of the topic. What is data? It is information gathered during an experiment. So, the first step that we always do is we need to identify the problem. What do you want to know or explain? Use observations you have made to write a question that addresses the problem or topic you want to investigate. Number two would be to form a hypothesis. But remember, between this step, the identifying the problem and forming the hypothesis, we need to get some background research because we need to predict what will happen. Predict the answer to the question or the outcome of the experiment. The next thing we're going to do is create an experiment. How will you test your hypothesis? Develop a procedure for a reliable experiment and address safety rules. Remember, we only have one manipulated variable when we do an experiment. The next step would be to perform an experiment. Follow the steps in your procedure to perform your experiment. Record the data and observations. Remember, we have two forms of data: quantitative, which is going to be numbers, and qualitative, which is going to be characteristics. Analyze the data. Is the data reliable? Does your data and observations from the experiment support your hypothesis? If your answer is yes, then you're going to write a conclusion that summarizes the important parts of the experiment and the results, and you'll communicate those results with other people. If the answer is no, is your data inaccurate or the experiment flawed? This is where your sources of error come into play. If the answer there is yes, you would need to modify the experiment, rewrite your procedures to address the flaws in the original experiment, and perform the experiment again, and then do the last three steps. Please make sure your notes are filled in completely.